Welcome back, ladies and also gays. Today I want to talk about a celebrity, using that term loosely because he's not really a celebrity, he's a YouTuber. Yeah, I know, I'm not one either, okay? Come down to the gutter. We're gonna talk about one of the Try Guys, Ned Fulmer. Now this isn't brand new news, right? If you are familiar with the scandal, or you're like, oh yeah, this man who looks like he was 3D printed by the Wonder Bread factory was known as Wife Guy, as in this group of, YouTube bros called the Try Guys. Can you tell that? I don't know. What I do know is that I would scratch this man's eyes out because evidently, despite, or perhaps not despite his very family-friendly persona, but perhaps precisely because of his Mr. Good Guy, Mr. Wife Guy persona, this parakeet-faced motherfucker cheated on his wife and devastated her. And then, after a few years' absence from videos and the internet, decided to make a comeback video interviewing this poor woman. Like I said, this didn't happen yesterday, but we never talked about it. And my friends and I were talking about it in a group chat. I'm like, you know what? I gotta speak on this. Because I was watching the interview he did with his wife, who seems like she is doing well, but is still so fucked up about this. I mean, they have 2 little sons. They married when they were both super young. She was, I will play you some clips, but there's just so much of this that she hasn't gotten past, and she probably won't. And she said something that I love, which is, fuck no, I don't forgive him. Queen. Yes! Slay. Literally go slay this man with a tractor trailer. Just go for it. There's a lot to learn here. And in fact, as I went deeper into their saga and watched this interview, one thing stood out to me. Because when we hear about stuff like this, it's oh, great. We can't trust the guys who look like fuckboys, but apparently we can't trust the good guys. They're just as bad. All roads lead to a guy fucking his coworker, which is what this dude did. And I kept seeing the coworker, and I'm like, is it a man? You know what? Let's just say it is. Screw you, Ned. Don't trust a guy named Ned. Your name is Edward. You need to be an adult and go by your grown-up name. I could just go off, and you know what? For the next 30 minutes or so, that's exactly what I'm fixing to do. So please join me. Also, join me on Spotify because I've got a new history podcast. You guys, it's finally here. I've been working on Crowned and Canceled for years. I've been thinking about it for years, and this is a history podcast. If you're like, I don't really like history, it's like this, but instead of talking about celebrities or YouTubers or anything like that, we're using kings and queens and courtesans and assassins and villains to get some really cool advice and to spill the tea on history. So if you don't like history, but you do live for the drama, come on over. You're gonna love Crowned and Canceled. We've got some really fun episodes. All right, let's talk about Ned Fulmer. This man. Whenever I look at people like him, the first thing I notice is, of course, the audacity. It's the audacity. Please tell me how this man made moves. He looks like he dances like this, in his Dockers. And he asks for maybe extra grenadine in his cocktails. But if he's with his bros, he'll gag down an IPA and acts like he likes it. He has floss in his pocket. This man carries floss. And his wife, Ariel, seems lovely. And she was pretty blindsided by this. And apparently she found out that he was finger blasting his coworker because fans told her. When we get cheated on, as just normal people, the humiliation is the foundation of it. Of course, your heart is broken, you're stunned, you're furious, but it's this layer of humiliation that is so incredibly isolating, right? You don't want to talk about it. You don't want anyone to know. And it's so fucked up. It's when I hear someone getting cheated on, I'm like, well, why would she be humiliated? He's the one who should be humiliated and ashamed of himself. What has she done? But we all know the feeling of being the last to know. Whether that's, someone cheated on us, or we were kicked out of a friend group and we didn't know that everyone was trashing us behind our back, or even if like at work, when you get laid off and you're like, what? To be the last to know is like a very deep psychological trauma. It's truly like getting kicked out of the tribe, right? It hits us on a very, very deep level. And a lot of times that's what embarrassment kicks up. It's something on this really deep biological level. And so if you get cheated on and you feel that humiliation, I've been cheated on and I absolutely felt it. This is what you're not going to do. You are not going to feel embarrassed for feeling embarrassed, right? I talk all the time. There's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is this motherfucker finger blasted a girl outside Applebee's. That's the pain. The suffering is the story you attach to pain. That's what suffering is. How could I not see this? I'm so stupid. Everyone's laughing at me. I would laugh at me. I'm a clown. I gave this man the best years of my boobs. I invested in this man. I gave him my whole 20s, my whole 30s, my whole 60s, whatever. That is not helpful. That is not helpful. I'm not telling you don't feel your feelings. I'm telling you feel, not tell, right? Feel your feelings. Don't necessarily think your feelings. Thinking your feelings is a very good thing down the road, right? Why did I ignore red flags if there were some? Why did I overly invest in this man to the point that I had no life of my own? And I had no means of escape if he cheated on me or hit me or whatever. That's for down the road. When you're in this sort of nuclear blast zone of a tragedy, no, you just feel. And you attach no story to it, no character judgment, no feelings about the feelings, okay? But I want to play a clip from this interview because, yeah, some things stood out to me. First and foremost, this man, parakeet, like an albino parakeet that people think are like special, but at the end of the day, you're like, it's actually just a parakeet.
I thought we had this love that like transcended.
I want to break this down bit by bit. I thought we had this love that transcended, right? Transcended time, transcended the problems that other people go through. Well, that'll never happen to us. You know? That mentality, this won't happen to me, is in fact a healthy mentality. Like we all know people who live in the opposite mentality. Oh, I just know one day I'm probably going to get cancer. Oh, today's the day I get laid off. I'm sure my next person's going to cheat on me. They live in that lack mentality. They live in the curse mentality and not the blessing mentality. But it's tough because we want to live in the blessing mentality. I'm not going to get that disease. I'm valued at my job. I'm valued in my relationship. But we can't have it be like we want it to be blinders, but not a blindfold. Does that make sense? We want to like block out a lot of the bullshit in the world and the toxic things, not be like, me? No, we're actually VIP. No, but we don't want it to be like, this could never happen. So feed my body shit. So don't show up for work. So let myself go in a relationship and be a nightmare. What is the compromise between a blessing mentality? This will never happen to me. Which can veer into delusion and a lack of preparation for things in the world, right? And then this constant like curse mentality. I call it a warrior mentality, right? A warrior, fuck around and find out. They don't want to fight. They don't think a fight's going to break out every single time they turn around. But if a fight does break out, they are ready. They are purposefully and strategically prepared for anything that might happen. It's like a doomsday prepper mentality. I'm a doomsday prepper. I live in Montana. A lot of people out here are preppers. They have overland vehicles and whatever. I'm like a baby prepper. But that's the thing. It's not my whole identity. I have an appropriate amount of interest in this. I understand like, okay, if this goes wrong, I am prepared. I can fix blah, 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 right? I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to put it in the corner of my garage and I'm not going to go out there and think about it every day. Was today the day the asteroid hits? No, I'm going to do the best I can. And the rest of the time, I'm putting my faith in something. I have faith in our fire departments that we're not just all going to burn up in a fire, that actually they're going to take care of it. I have a faith in our electrical grid that we're not going to be without power for 10 days, descend into chaos, right? I have a faith in God that an asteroid's not going to hit. And if it does, I just hope I die first. Do you see what I mean? The difference between positive delusion And negative delusion is, in fact, preparation for both. What does that look like in a relationship? I mean, you're talking about overland vehicles and gas cans. And what does this have to do with dating, though, and love and marriage? Let's keep playing, and I'll tell you.
I trusted you so completely. And I mean, we grew up together. We got married when we were like in our early 20s.
Yeah.
We were babies. We had nothing. I mean, we moved out to LA with just our car full of stuff.
What strikes me here is like the disbelief on her face. She's like, she actually said exactly what was wrong with this relationship. I trusted you completely, and we met when we were just babies. Both of those things tell me you had no plan B. You had no plan B. I know that this sounds very like dour, like you should always keep like a slip knot in like these attachments, and you should always be like 1 foot outside the door. You know what? Actually, yeah. Here's why. This woman was married to a rich and successful YouTube creator, right? Are you? Like if shit hits the fan and you divorce, are you going to come out financially better or financially worse? 85% of women, after they get divorced, are in a worse financial place. The same amount of men are in a better one. 20% of women, after they're divorced, 20% fall below the poverty line. And I don't mean women who are already like right above it. I mean women, I have seen this with my own eyes. I've seen this in my friend group. Women who are like doing fine, driving a Lexus, living in a nice house. And they are struggling because they invested everything into their husband, because they didn't have a bank account where they were actively putting money, stealing it from their husband. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Skimming off some dry cleaning bills. I don't know. Or working or whatever. They were not actively doomsday prepping. And if you talk to any doomsday prepper, they're going to be like, you have 2 cans of beans? The fuck you think that's going to do for you if shit hits the fan? You're like, I don't know. Full send or no send, right? If you're going to do it, if you're going to prep. Really think something through and have a plan for an amount of time. You need to be an emotional doomsday prepper. I trusted him completely. You shouldn't. Because he's a human being. And human beings, no matter how much they love someone or something, they're gonna love themselves more. They're gonna follow their own inclinations before they follow their promises to you. So she didn't have a plan B. And like I said, ooh, does that sound like you just shouldn't trust love? You need to do that for your own self-preservation. But what if we all remind ourselves that you know what men are hardwired to do? Hunt. That's what men get off on. You know what an incel comes down to, like the psychology of an incel? It's an untested man. It's a man with no struggle. It's a man with no achievement. It's a man with no mountain to climb. It's a man with no fucking mountain to climb. And I live in a state where people literally climb mountains and they literally go hunt, and the men here are happier. They feel more like men. If you are not the thing he is hunting, when something comes along that does spark up that hunting thing, a coworker, perhaps male, fuck you, Ned, or a job that really gives him that hunting thing that he's chasing, you're like, why aren't you home for dinner? Why aren't you at the pumpkin patch with us? Why? Because he needs to hunt. He needs to hunt, and he will chase the thing that's running. That needs to be you. I'm not saying you don't give this man your phone number. Like you're his wife, and maybe you come to dinner and maybe you don't. No. How we let a man chase us within a relationship is by constantly growing as a person ourselves. He needs to constantly keep up with us. We have our own life. We go to book club. We go on the girls' trips. No, not just if it's a bachelorette. Like, We make time for our friends. We give a man the thing that he wants the most, which is pain. Which is pain. Which is pain. You don't believe me? Does this sound evil? First of all, if you're new here, I am the girl that does Evil Week. Google it. This year for Evil Week, I'm telling you how to be a sociopath. Yeah, when I say Evil Week, I'm not like, I mean it. Because sociopaths don't feel guilt and they get to live their life for themselves. Doesn't that sound nice? I can teach you how. Anyway. Does it sound evil to say, I'm in pain? Man's in pain. No. The pain of acquisition, the pain of the climb. I don't mean the pain of, you have a really small dick. No. There is good pain and there's bad pain, right? I mean, we know that. We like our hair pulled. Right? Like, choke me, but don't like pinch me or like, twist something. That's, ow. Stop it. Like, that's annoying. Men need pain. Men need to chase something. They need to feel like they're constantly acquiring you, that it's a constant prize. And an easy way to do that is to have your own motherfucking life. You don't believe me? Look at the women who don't. I don't think this woman had her own life. I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe she's part of Foundation and blah. I don't know that much about her. But when I look at a lot of women who get cheated on, and it's the same kind of thing. It's like it's blindsided. Part of their humiliation, part of that humiliation foundation is, I gave everything to this man. I invested into this emotional Ponzi scheme. And I was making decisions based on a reality, based on a commitment that did not actually exist. And what drives us crazier than that in life? Pulling up for a friend, talking her through a breakup at 11 p.m. for the 500th time. And then when you need something, she's busy. I don't know. Have we not all experienced that? It's the feeling of being cheated on. It's the feeling of no plan B. It's the feeling of an inappropriate investment. And sometimes that investment is literal, sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's emotional. And with women in marriages, it's actually both. It's actually both. You invested in your husband, you worked while he was podcasting. Fuck out of here, right? You helped while he's in medical school and is gambling the whole time. Like, we see this and we go into this sort of debt, an emotional debt, a financial debt. And when you're in debt and when you are, again, in that lack mentality, which you are gonna be in when you are giving everything to this man, of course you expect perfection from him. Of course. You're not crazy for expecting that. I would too. But when they don't deliver, the resentment. I wonder if it would have been easier for this woman to move on if she had retained more of her life. And remember at the beginning, I said there was one thing about this relationship that to me is the biggest red flag, that if I could wave a wand over this dynamic and not have that, I feel like they would not be here. It's that they married young. Listen, if you married young, I'm not saying divorce your husband. Like, you're probably doing fine, whatever. But if you're like, I'm 27 and I'm not married and all my friends are, I'm 37, I'm 47, it hasn't happened for me. Good. I want you to wait until the day before menopause to walk down the aisle. The day before. Why? Because men need the climb. They need that climb. Climbing and foundation building are two completely different things, right? And when a man is in his 20s, his early 20s, he doesn't know who the fuck he is. She even said, we were babies. We grew up together. Blech, that just makes my skin crawl. You grew up together. I grew up with me. I grew myself up. I grew free and wild in the direction that my life and my choices and my input took me. I was not growing tandem with someone else. And for some people, they're like, yeah, that sounds awful. I completely get it. I do completely get this, right? Again, I'm not trying to shit on getting married young. I'm actually shitting on your mindset that you are broken or that it's wrong and that it's bad, that you are of a certain age, whatever that might be, and that you still haven't found the person. No. No. I know a lot of people who got married young. A lot of them are in the Shallon and they've been with their husband since they were 17. And it's like, great. Like, that's a great dynamic for them. But understand that there's also a beautiful dynamic about living your life for yourself, letting your true love who's out there finger blast his way through the Applebee's off exit 35, right? And get those yayas out, get his wiggles out, and come to you fully formed. And we're living in this weird culture. I don't know if it's red pill, where it's like sexual market value, but women do this too. I hear it. Oh my God, I think my boyfriend, he just slept with so many girls and I think it's disgusting. I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are to say something like that to a man? To say something like that to anyone, to shame a man for his past? Do you think he's good in bed? How do you think he got good in bed? Sit down. I say the same thing to men. You want a horny virgin? Shut up. It's a good thing that we let people go live their life and then come to us as a more fully formed person. I would never, ever date or marry someone who has not had a slut phase, like a male slut phase, ever. If they're like, no, I've slept with 3 girls, get out of my house. Get out of my house. Because you are going to be untested as a man. You're not going to have like the wherewithal as a man to know how to approach a girl at a bar. And that's a really scary thing to do. And if you don't know how to do that, what other scary things are you not going to be able to do? Can you ask for a raise and a promotion to help support your family? Can you stand up to your mother? What if an intruder came by our house? You'd be like, I don't know. I shit my pants at Applebee's when I tried to talk to a girl who was off exit 34. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I want a man with some battle scars. I want a man with some stories. I want a man who's lived because I want a man. I want a man because I am a woman. I have my own battle scars. I have my own hills that I've climbed. I've had my own things that have sharpened me. And I want someone who's going to do that too. Because then when they choose you and you choose them, it's obviously we're both choosing here. It is choice. They're not afraid to be alone. I'm not afraid to be alone. I make my own money. They make their own money. I have a plan B. It's called the entirety of my career and my life. We are coming together truly out of choice and not out of fear. And not out of like, we're just 2 babes in the woods. We're Hansel and Gretel wandering through this college campus, wandering through life as a 22-year-old, just trying to find it and figure it out together. I think that that's a good thing for some people. Again, if I could wave a wand, that's not necessarily what I would wish for you. I would wish that you got to shape yourself truly in as much of like a vacuum as possible. Like, what do you like? We all know the girl who just morphs into her partner. We all know that girl. And I'm like, I look at those girls as the most vulnerable women in society. Those are the girls who attract men who hit them, who financially cheat on them, drain their bank account, rack up 80 grand in debt that they don't know about, who go after the coworker. Because what that man sees is not a partner, is not an equal, but is a fan, as a pet. And you weed those people out the older you get. The more fully formed you are, those men look at you and they're like, bad idea. I never attract men like that. I never attract controlling men because they're like, gonna be hard. Gonna be hard. I don't attract men who date like chronically younger women either because there's a dynamic of power there. I'm not the girl that you date to break. And part of that is because I have my own life. I have my own experiences, and I'm not sorry about all of them. If you move through life with this constant simmering hum in the background of shame and apology that you're single, do you not think a predator can sense that? They can. They can. Do you not think that Ned Parakeet Face could sense that his wife wasn't going nowhere? He rolled the dice on finger banging, on sleeping with his coworker. And because on some level, he did not think she was going to leave. I don't even know that they're actually divorced. I think they might just be separated. Co-parenting. Get the fucking divorce, Ariel. Jesus Christ. But look, is he wrong? If that's the case, is he wrong? Did she leave? Did she fight for the marriage? I don't fight for shit. I don't fight for shit. You cheat on me? You think I'm going to fight to keep a cheater? Are you on drugs right now? What? And you can say, well, they have kids. So set an example. So set an example that out there in the real world, kids, decisions have consequences. And when you choose a decision, you actually choose the consequence. So have your own life. Go live your own life before you decide that a man is there to complete it. Because if that's the thing, if a man is the skeleton key that unlocks all of this self-esteem, all of this wonderment, and all of these fun things, then until you have him, you're just like a non-playing character. And that vibe is exactly the thing that's going to prevent you from finding an amazing partner. You come across as desperate, frightened, not really a person, and therefore not entirely respectable. Men don't really cheat on women they're a little afraid of. They can only look at so many things at once, right? It's literally hunter vision. You can't focus on this. Women have excellent peripheral vision. We can multitask. We can cheat just fine. Men, if you give him what he needs, he's not going to go looking elsewhere. And ironically, giving him what he needs, a chase, someone who's just a little out of reach, just a little, he loves you just a little bit more than you love him. You've got your own life. You've got your own thing. The thing that he needs is actually the thing that you need, which is autonomy, unapologetic self-possession, and a life, a personality, a future that truly has nothing to do with him. So there's one more thing that she said here that I think was very, very telling. And I also think was like, he thought the same thing, but in reverse.
I'm like tearing up just thinking about it. We were just kids.
I'm so sorry.
Punk.
Like we had so much. There was so much. We had so much life left.
We had so much life left. This poor creature. But you know, when a man is in a relationship where there's no hunting, where everything is a foregone conclusion, and where he believes she's never going to leave, he's thinking exactly that. There's so much life left. Holy shit, there's so much life left. There's so many more jump time play dates and pancakes and chicky tendies. There's so many more dinners with your mom. That's exactly what they're thinking. When they're understimulated, it's just this huge gaping chasm of time that stretches out before them. And so again, that feeling of being alive, which is the number one reason men cheat. They cheat to feel alive. They cheat to feel alive. They're not getting it at home from the woman who's not going anywhere, the woman who has no life, the woman who's just at his beck and call, the woman who lives for the kids. She doesn't live for herself. She lives for the kids, the kids, the kids. What about the kids? The kids. There's not a lot of aliveness there. So the coworker comes along and all of his jokes are funny. And oh my God, she's just like saying all these different things. You know why she's so interesting? It's because she's single. She's single and she is living her life for herself, and that's very enticing to him. So if you have spent this whole video being like, I don't think I believe that we need to stay like just a little out of reach from a man. Well, the mistress is just out of reach for the man, and that's who he ran after. So if I'm so incorrect, why did he cheat? If domestic stability is so wonderful, why do husbands and dads cheat? And I don't want this to sound like victim blaming, like, oh, so we've just got to keep, we've got to shake shit up all the time. But like, Listen, sweetheart, if you have the attitude towards a marriage or a relationship, and I don't mean even a romantic one, I mean even a friendship, where it's something you wind up once and it just goes forever, good luck out there. Have you been in a relationship with a guy like that? He was great in the beginning, bringing flowers and taking you here, and then it's like, meh. Like that courtship phase, that getting to know you phase was just over. You've had that in a friendship. You've had that in a friendship. We used to really talk and have these deep convos, and now she only calls me when she needs to vent. She only calls me when she wants to go on my dad's boat. You know what this dynamic is. And if you want to sit back and say, I shouldn't have to do any more work here to keep this person engaged, good luck. I hope you have a prenup that God himself couldn't penetrate, because you're gonna need it. Because would you want to be in that relationship? Would you want to be in a relationship with you? And we can sit here all we want, say men are trash. They are. I mean, they are. Obviously they are. But they're not nonsensical. That's the difference. They're trash for sure. But when you look at what a man needs and what the construct of marriage very often fails to give him, the end result, the cheating, the bullshit, is not as nonsensical as we think. It actually kind of tracks. And that doesn't mean we just have to sit back and take it. It means we have to figure it out. If those are the rules of the game, if that is what men need, and this is carved into stone, we have needs that are carved into stone, and you wouldn't want me sitting here saying, well, you shouldn't need them. Then we can't say that about men's needs either. I mean, you can. Go be a lesbian. Who cares? The solution is not, these rules are so unfair. This is stupid. Men shouldn't feel like that. Again, go be a lesbian. If you want to date men, if you want to partner with men, it is not about dismantling the man machine. It's about learning how the man machine works and beating it and hacking it and getting one step ahead of it. Wouldn't you love a man to do that for us? Wow. And I think this is what frustrates us about guys, is they're like, what do women want? We're like, well, if you could, no, but we can never know. And we're all just tearing our hair out because we're like, I am not an opaque communicator. I'm not a hinter. I'm like, I really like flowers. I love pink and white roses. I love TJ Maxx scented candles. I love blankets. And guys are like, huh, no way to make that one happy. If only men could get out in front of what we need. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And what if we could do it too? Because again, giving a man what he needs inherently protects us. Staying a little aloof, having our own money, our own vibe, our own friends, our own identity, gives him the gift of a hunt and protects us as well. So, sound off in the comments. I'm dying to hear someone disagree. Like, I'm dying to hear that. Dying. See you at the Pride Parade. All right. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you watch this dude, Parakeet? I don't know. Who else should we talk about? I know that Katy Perry's with Justin Trudeau. All right. It's like 2 pieces of paper. Like, what's the topic there? And like I said, please listen to my new podcast, Crowned and Canceled, on Spotify. It's a brand new podcast, so your engagement and your listening really means so much to us. I've worked really hard on this, and it's the podcast for people who think they don't like history, because it's tea, it's gossip, it's drama, and of course, it's a lesson. It's what we can take from situations that seem a billion years ago and totally unrelatable. Nope. Whether we're talking about ancient Rome or Oxford frats or Louis XIV, these lessons are a lot closer than you might think. So if you hate history but live for drama, check out Crowned and Canceled. All right, guys, we are going to be back next time. I'll see you later, Shalligators.